Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host, Harneet Kaur, and today we have the fabulous Brad Furniss, Managing Director of Pivotal Retail. Um, I have been, me and Brad have been discussing about it. They are an authority when it comes to branding and retail and helping the in-stores, in overcoming today's and tomorrow's challenges. Yeah,
Yeah,
Brad?
that's right.
Wonderful.
Yeah, anything for helping retailers and brands succeed in store is basically what we do.
Lovely, lovely. Let's have more, probably in a little more depth, Brad, about you and the business. How did it start?
The business really started with there's a few of us that worked for a much larger business who in 2008, 2009 hit through the financial crisis, started hitting large financial,
Mm,
started hitting a few financial problems,
mm,
and I got made redundant from them. So as did 1,200 other people. So
wow.
we thought to ourselves, well, let's try and set up our own business, really, from that, and that's really where we came from. I was a shareholder of that business, and
Mm,
it meant that I wasn't allowed to actually go and work for another company,
mm,
but they were happy for me to set up my own business because they were 135 million turnover and thought, well, I'm not really going to be much of a competition to 135 million pounds on my own. And that was how it all started, really.
Oh, wonderful. And then what exactly does Pivotal Retail do?
Okay, so we design. Well, we have shopper insights, but we design, develop, manufacture, and install retail displays. So any
Mm-hmm.
stores. So we help. In essence, we help brands and retailers sell more product
Mm,
by the way in which we promote their brands in a store environment.
mm. That
Okay,
is that
so
is so good.
yeah, so we kind of try and emphasize the products, trying to get the right communication across to
Mm,
the shopper so that they, generally increase sales.
mm. So you are actually supporting a lot of retail businesses for to increase their sales.
Yeah, so by having something physical within their shops to help
Mm,
promote that, if you know what I mean.
mm,
So it's some people call it POS, point of sale,
mm,
that kind of thing. That's what we do, and we
mm.
also design and manufacture exhibition stands.
Oh, wonderful. That is lovely. Um, I'm just curious to understand, Brad. I mean, you started this at the time of 2008, 2009
Well,
crisis.
that's when we actually started. 2010 was when
Okay.
we actually set the business
Yeah.
up. Yeah, I got made redundant end of 2009, and
Mm.
in March 2010 we set it up. Yeah.
But what exactly, I mean, why Pivotal Retail? What inspired you to start this?
What inspired me? So, I'd always wanted to set my own business up, really. I've always, my parents were entrepreneurs themselves. They've had different businesses, worked in different countries throughout the world, and I felt that it's something I wanted to do as well. I wanted to have my own business and run my own things. And I felt that, the business I'd worked for was very big and somewhat, and obviously run into a lot of difficulties. And I felt that in this sector, we could do something a little bit different and give
Mm.
customers a bit more a better service,
Mm.
being smaller and more personalised.
That is so good. I mean, definitely we can see that for you, the customer is of the utmost importance, and that is the main important thing. Uh, from 2010, almost 2024, 14 years and above. So, if we look back, what has been your main sort of attributes that has resulted in this growth of the
Um,
business?
yeah, I mean, the first couple of years were very difficult, trying to get things off the ground. And certainly the kind of clients that we deal with are, generally big household names. So you're
Mm,
dealing with big brands,
mm,
which are massive companies. And some of the companies don't really want to deal with small companies. They want to deal with big companies. So it's trying to get across that challenge of that was always difficult. Sorry, I forgot half the question there.
that is absolutely fine. I mean, you know what? You being very true, because yes, it is not a very rosy picture always when we speak to business owners. Initially, it has always been difficult, but you have been growing and
Yeah,
sustaining the business over 14 years.
exactly. And and it was an old colleague of mine who came up and said to me, who had retired, and he said, and I was talking to him, and he says, you need to focus on the sectors that we were trying to get a lot more into cosmetics, fragrance, these kind of areas, which are
Mm,
great because they spend a lot of money in our sector. But he says, yeah, but you've got a lot of experience in other sectors such as tobacco, such as and these things. So we concentrated our thought after to go after those sectors,
mm,
which really, and we had a lot of knowledge, probably more knowledge than a lot of other companies, and that certainly came across to our clients
mm,
that our knowledge of their sector really paid dividends because we were
mm.
coming up with the next big thing for them.
Oh, wonderful. So it's focusing on that couple of sectors, So currently, which all sectors do you work with?
Well, since then, since we kind of really got moving, we work in a massive array of sectors because we've been able to use those learnings from that
Mm,
from those sectors. So, I used to from one of my previous companies, I used to work in the tobacco sector quite a
mm,
lot, and we'd done quite some substantial work for that, and so it was that I reopened up for me when I went back and said, look, I know this and I know that. And we came up with ideas and we prospected a few ideas to them, which people said, yeah, actually, this is just what we need. You're
mm.
actually coming up with what we need. And, and so, yeah, so now we work in tobacco, we work in health and beauty, we work in gardening, we work in
Oh,
uh, we work in beers, wines, and spirits.
yeah.
We work in it's like I say, vaping. We work in health. Like we also work in fine fragrance. There's quite a big sector that we kind of work across, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are quite a lot of sectors, especially from brewery, health and beauty
Yeah,
to gardening. Yeah, I would say
yeah,
quite a
soft
diversified
drinks.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
soft drinks. We work in soft drinks and stuff. So yeah, quite a big sector, really.
Lovely. So, Brad, this is something I often ask everyone, from working for someone, working in a company, how what has been the journey from an employee to an employer, and when you start your own business, what has been your biggest learning as an employer?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and that's challenging. It's great. Everyone thinks we're going to be a big employer, but there's so much legislation and everything else that you have to make sure you can comply with and all the rest of it. And but you have to employ people. And I think when you're employing people as well, you need to make sure that you are getting the right people. That's one of the learnings I would say. Sometimes you can feel pressured because
Mm,
you need someone, but you may get someone that isn't the right person just because you need someone. And I
Mm,
think sometimes it's better to hold out and make sure you get the right person, the right fit with their knowledge base, and the right fit with their personality base that's going to fit with the rest of the team.
absolutely. Right people in the right seat.
Yeah, exactly. The right people in the right seat. But that's not always easy to find.
Yeah, exactly. And
But
that's why we often say this, and we have uh, it might not sound very good, but we always talk about, hire slow and
yeah,
fire fast.
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, if you have someone not working on a disengaged employee, that can have a lot of bad repercussions for the entire business and everyone. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, and we've had, sometimes we've had challenges with employees, that have come, and then some people don't adapt because, as our business, we're on an expansion program, and some people aren't great with change,
Hmm.
and our business is evolving and changing, all the time. So it's and I understand that, that some people have certain things where they find it difficult for change and
Hmm.
stuff. But
Hmm.
so I suppose as your business, you're not always going to be the right fit for the people that you've got. And I always
Hmm.
think to myself, the people we start off with, we may not end up with,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
and
Because company grow, and if the business is growing, they need people with a growing mindset, whereas not
correct.
everyone would want to grow. So that alignment is very important between the team and the business.
It is exactly. It is
Mm.
exactly. You know.
But talking about challenges, Brad, and I often, when we speak to business owners, of course, there are a lot of challenges, and we've seen most of the challenges fall into either of the three categories. So either it is time, which is like, gosh, can I have more time in a day?
Yeah.
Or it's money, which is the growth aspect of the business, more revenue, more profitability, or it's the team. So where do you see as a challenge?
Um. Yeah, I would say to a certain extent, there's different ways of looking at it. I think there's ways of looking at it as a business, and then there's ways of looking at it as from a personal point of view.
Mm,
Personally, I could do with more time.
mm,
And then, but from a business point of view, our current thing is team,
mm,
because we like I say, we as a business are growing, and we've landed some great new clients, which is great, and we just need to make sure we grow our team behind the new client base, which is
absolutely.
which is building, so yes, I mean that's what from a personal point time, but everything else it would be team.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And uh, it's like, can we grow a business? No, we can't grow a business because business is an intangible sort of an asset. We grow the team, and the team grows the business.
Yes, yes, that's one way of looking at it. That's one way of looking. However, it is a bit of a chicken and egg, isn't it?
Yes, yes. So it's
Because
always, I mean, when it comes to implementation, it's easy said than done. There is a lot of work to be done behind the scenes.
yeah, because if you haven't got the business for the team, if you
Mm,
haven't got the sales, then
mm,
you haven't got the money to support the team whilst you're going out trying to get the work. So
exactly. But
it's
but then on that one, even the business has to be done by the team.
yes,
So I mean, having those people who are, but as a business owner, there has to be that clarity of, okay, what is happening, what is supposed to be. So it's more from, manager to a leader point of view, where you have that sort of a helicopter view of the business and holding everyone accountable for their roles and responsibilities. But yes, a lot of work to be done to get to that stage.
Well, there's always work to be done.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
constant thing with business, isn't it? With your own business.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I found from running my own business, one of the things I never understood from running my own business was that literally you're always constantly thinking about your business.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Always, and and I don't think any staff of
Mm.
a larger business completely understand
Hmm.
how the chief exec or the MD or whoever, and certainly if it's their own business and they own the share, um, how that affects them, I suppose.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean, it's like comparing it with a child, only you can understand your kid and how much demanding that job can be. Whereas no one, I mean, for everyone else, that kid is really cute and chubby and nice to play with for a couple of hours. But then you don't understand what goes behind that cuteness and the
yeah,
growth part of the
yeah.
business.
That is so true. That is so true. It's a very good synopsis of that. Yeah, it is, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
Completely like that. And and having worked in some companies at a relatively senior level, I just still didn't understand, the amount of, I suppose, the additional pressure that you get as that kind of
Yeah.
business owner, because obviously
Yeah.
when things aren't going great and, having come through the pandemic and all the rest of it, times have been challenging there, but,
Absolutely.
and it's though all that intense pressures that come onto you. But anyway,
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely spot on. But business is meant to give more life. Otherwise, it's good to be in a paying, probably a job where you can switch off after work. You can literally sleep as a business owner. Yeah, you don't sleep. You're constantly thinking about the business.
yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly. For me, I have certain things. If I have certain key KPIs, that if the business is doing those, then I can sleep at night.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can sleep at
I,
night, and that's fine. But as an entrepreneur, I suppose I'm also constantly thinking about, well, we could be
exactly.
doing this, we could be doing that,
Yes, yes.
or I could come up with this idea of this display, and I can go and present that to a retailer tomorrow, or I must get that done, I must get that done because there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
So you do
But
get
I
that.
think it's all the excitement as well, because you're
Yeah, but
doing
that's
so
it.
many things. There are new things every day. I mean, as an employee, you're just constantly working on one sort of aspect of a business. But here you are, you have that freedom, autonomy. You think about it and you implement it the next day and you see the results, and it's sort of fun in a way to do that.
It
So
is. It is. Sometimes, like I say, having worked in much bigger businesses, it can take real time to get. It was a situation where, to get decisions made was taking so long. And that's
mm,
the beauty of having a smaller business. We can make a quick decision. If a client wants us to do certain search and we've got to invest a bit or do something, we can quickly make that decision.
absolutely. So Brad, what is the vision for the business? I mean, what's in it in the next 5 years?
Yeah, well, I mean, we see ourselves within the next 5 years that we see ourselves doubling our turnover.
Oh,
Um,
lovely.
yeah, yeah, we're doubling our turnover. We when I originally started the business, we started as an agency, so it was just design, and we had other companies do the manufacturing for us. So now since COVID, we've brought that in-house, and we're now our own production company as well. So we've got a constant plan now of each year further and further investment
Hmm.
to keep investing on new machinery, bigger workspaces,
Hmm.
making sure that we are delivering the best service we can do to our clients.
Lovely. That is very good. This is my last and the final, my favorite question, Brad. And if what advice would you give to your younger self when it comes to business?
What would I give advice? What would I say advice to? Um, I would say, in some ways, um, I would say I'd probably be a little bit tougher than what
Mhm.
I am. I'm probably too nice sometimes, I think, for people for business, you know. And sometimes I can be just too nice to people, too nice to, you know, and sometimes we get walked over by our clients and or and whatever. So I think I'd be a little bit tougher. But I think I'd also say keep a keep tight on the figures, on
Mm,
what is going on, and making sure you understand the figures and everything else. So
absolutely.
yeah,
What gets measured gets managed.
exactly. Yeah. And so, and I think certainly when I started the business, I understood a bit about profit and loss and the rest of it, but it's a big learning curve, I think, when you go. And the
Mhm.
other thing that you first start off with was, I remember getting our first job. Sorry, I'm waffling on now, but I remember getting our first job, and I thought, great, I've won this job, and now, or got this inquiry, and I'd be right. I need to get it estimated. So, where's the estimating department? I've not got one of them. Where's my supply base? I've not got any supply base.
It's Brad wearing another hat and
It's, it,
another and another.
it was literally that, and I was like, wow. Oh, yeah, I was so dependent on, all these different departments and our accounts department
Yeah.
and this and there's that. And it was like, wow, I need to get all these departments. I've got to now go and do all this. But it was exciting at the time. Exciting at the
Yeah.
time when you start off. It is.
Yeah.
And I would say also, you know, keep going is the thing I
Mm,
would say to myself. Just keep going. I mean, I kept getting knockbacks and yeah, I kept getting knocked back. And also the other thing was I felt I had some really good relationships with some of my previous clients
mm,
that actually when I rang them up, it wasn't quite the relationship that I thought it was going to be. And so
mm,
don't even think about your old client base because, think about go after the new ones and
mm,
not to get disgruntled if your existing client base doesn't give you any work, you know.
mm.
But you just got to chip away at it. So
Yeah, exactly. I love that what you said. Keep going. It's such a simple thing, but this is what business is. I mean, we would always have the peaks and the troughs. So
yes,
far, it's an upward trend. Just keep going.
yeah, exactly. And at the start of when we started the business off, we had zero clients. A small pot of money in the account, and it was to then go after it and to try and get everything you can and speak to as many people as you can. But if you keep going, you will succeed. And I think
Absolutely.
that is so true. That is so
Wonderful,
true.
Brad. It was such lovely. I've got so much inspiration from your journey, and thanks for your, I would say, thanks for your honesty and simplicity because, it's the simple things which make big businesses, I would say. So, thank
Yeah,
you for joining us today.
you're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.